Alright, guys, we've made it. We're here. We're at the final chapter. We're at the epilogue. It's been a long, hard fought road, but we have done it. I never thought this moment would come. I, I'm tearing up right now. It's so beautiful. So let's do this. Spires of Magic Epilogue. Norman groaned as his vision cleared. A bolt of pain ripped through his being, and he slammed his eyes shut again. Osborne blinked, finding a pair of individuals across from his position. One's body was composed entirely of electricity, the energy spiraling around the same, but it was prone, lying unconscious. It was Electro. Norman's eyes widened as the Electric Man's body morphed, taking the shape of an equine. Osborne's gaze fell on the individual that stood over Electro. A dark robe concealing everything, in the exception of his brown face. He resembled a baboon. He walked over to Norman, folding his arms across his chest as he did so. "Where am I, and who are you?" Osborne coughed weakly, vision blurring.
"On the outskirts of the Tartarus,"
an individual declared, nodding.
"I am Lord Tilak. You are very fortunate. Your body was ripped asunder by chaotic magic. Discord managed to find a safe of 90% of your original assets and brought you here. It will take quite some time for you and Electro to heal, but I'm confident you'll recover a good time. I'll even make certain you're ready to use your pony forms while we reach. I must warn you, it will take some time. You just have to be patient."
Norman's breathing slowed. "I'm in Equestria. What do you want from me?" T-Rex smiled.
"I believe we both want the same thing. Power. However, there are those who always want to stop us, as we are alone. We don't stand a chance, but united, we can wipe our enemies from the face of the world."
The centaur stood.
"I want Equestria at my knees. You want Spider-Man. We're forming a group of sorts. So far, there's 3 of us. A Discord is working to recruit 3 more. With the 6 of us working together, the fools of Equestria, let alone Spider-Man, will not stand a chance against our knight.
T-Rex paused, furrowing his brow.
I only ask you this. Will you join us?"
Osborne was silent for a duration, but soon broke into laughter, cackling maniacally. "Oh yes, count me in." Lightning filled his body, burning brightly before slowly dissipating. Norman extended his hand out, finding it had taken the shape of a hoof. However, this didn't come as a shock. His fur was even green, as if iron nails laughing at the newly formed equine. Osborne merely scoffed. "Yes, I'll take some getting used to."
"There will be plenty of time to adjust. Years, perhaps."
"Oh, I'm not doing the rest," T-Rex stated, stepping to the side while bringing his gaze to the ground. A pile of equipment rested nearby, but Osborne's eyes shot open at the sight. There was a purple hat and tunic standing on top of a knapsack. Underneath the collection there was a glider, its slick design intricate in advance. T-Rex smiled wide.
"Discord managed to retrieve some of your old belongings. We both believe it is time for you to return to your roots."
Discord floated around aimlessly in the astral plane, physical form completely intact. Well, that worked out much better than I hoped. The entire ordeal has been so much fun. The chroniclist raised his talon, prompting an orb to materialize above it. Images began to play within the sphere. That Norman Osborn was a fool. I gave up a fraction of my power and warned him that using it all at once could destroy his body. Twilight Sparkle merely put an end to his misery ahead of schedule. Had she not, Norman's body would have been completely disintegrated in a week's time. I really shouldn't have saved him, but I'm certain he'll be far more complacent this time around. The orb spun around Discord's body, disappearing in a blur. "Oh, woe is me. I've been captured by the Green Goblin. Please save me." He sarcastically chimed before bursting into condescending laughter. He inhaled deeply, managing to recollect his nerve. "Oh, these ponies are so gullible. They panic easily. I power up one dragon, and Twilight Sparkle went so far as to summon some pony from another world. It's too good to be true, honestly." Discord sat upright, maintaining his place in midair. I thought Peter would be an inconvenience to me. I mean, he's such a do-gooder. And the body starts with Twilight could become quite tiresome for me down the road. A smile formed on Draconis' face. It's ironic. Now I can't stay away from him. He's a strong catalyst for chaos. No matter what happens, trouble always seems to find him in the worst way. I would be foolish to disregard such potential. The possibilities are endless. It certainly helps that his presence alone causes such disarray and disharmony to spread among the populace of Equestria. I couldn't have planned it better myself. Discarded a brow. It's not like Parker could hate me for it. It's such a marvelous trade. He gets a fresh start, a mere friend, and a family. All I ask in return is for chaos here and there. It's only fair in exchange for all I've done to him. I don't even have to laugh a finger. The chaos just flux to him naturally. Snapping his fingers, he materialized a pair of sunglasses over his eyes and created a bag of popcorn out of nothingness, or chewing down smugly. Chaos is so much more enjoyable when somebody else is doing it for me. So now I'll just sit back and enjoy the show. After all, this should be most entertaining. Okay, everyone, meeting. So, now that we see that this author didn't do such a stupid thing as to weaken Discord again, we have to ask ourselves about this. Was this too obvious? Did this work? Or am I just trying to find some bit of good left in this fic? Well, personally, if you ask me, I think this sort of does work because, well, I'm me. But not like that. But this actually shows me some respect as a villain. It also shows how crafty and intelligent I actually am, while actually paying me some good points. The problem is, I feel like this was all really unnecessary. Was this twist really needed? Was Osborn as a propped up as a catalyst with all this Discord power? Was it really needed? And why Osborn? You would think if he went for somebody else, it would be Doom. On the other hand, Discord knows that Doom wouldn't be stupid enough to fall for a trick like this. But on the other hand, I can't help but feel like we practically were grasping at straws here just to make the story continue. But then again, I also feel like I'm just grabbing at straws with some sort of hope that this fic can give out something good before we get to the end. A couple of days have passed ever since Princess Celestia addressed the sins of Equestria at Pierre's background. For Luna, tension was at an all-time high, but it wasn't for that reason. The events that unfolded on Earth affected everybody, but it was clear that most of it transpired on Twilight, Pierre, and Luna herself. Celestia was informed of what had happened regarding the Venom symbiote, the spell used to revive Pierre, and why her sister was now considerably younger than she used to be. Luna traveled through the hallways of the castle. She had done well to avoid her older sibling about the conversation, but the Alicorn knew that Celestia would confront her eventually. This was a discussion Luna was not particularly looking forward to. There was one time she truly feared it was her big sister. Luna let out a sigh of relief once she reached her private quarters. At the very least, she could rest for the day and contemplate how to carry on with her night. However, the younger Alicorn inhaled sharply upon spotting her older sister at the end of the hallway, her expression stern. "Hello, Luna. I believe we need to talk," Princess Celestia murmured, pacing across the room. Alicorn's stern gaze remained fixed on the floor before she shifted it towards her sister. It was barely a third of her height now. "Do you realize what you could have done? You could have died performing that spell, and your powers radically diminished. You could still raise the Lord of the Moon, but I'll have to help you on occasion now. There's no clear indication of how long this effect will last." So, weakening Luna for Peter. Wow. Every time there seems to be a problem for Peter that I could possibly argue, you find a way to remove it. Can't say I'm surprised anymore, Fic. Yes, I'm aware of that. Celestia's expression sharpened, causing Luna to cringe involuntarily. Do you realize how many years you've saved from your life? You have been living for eons. You've regressed to the point where you're a young adult again. You're only 2 years older than Twilight now. You are so impulsive! While Celestia was yelling, her voice remained calm. Her concern was evident as it wavered. You dove headlong into a situation without thinking rationally. By the stars, had you given up any more of your essence, you would have died! Luna blinked, lowering her brow. Yet she stood firm, even as her sinister shadow overlapped her entire body. I know that! Do you? Celestia barked, tears pouring from her sides. That was foolish! Yes, but really taking Nightmare Moon back into your body? Did you forget everything? You learned for the first time Nightmare has caused you eons of suffering and torn us apart. I lost you. And now I have to live knowing that there's a chance history might repeat itself. Inhaling, the Alicorn let out a low sigh. We may have to keep this a secret from every pony in Equestria. But eventually the truth will come to life. Why did you do this? Just why? Because I love Peter, Luna blatantly said, placing a hate over her chest. Yes, I lost my way, but he and Twilight brought me back from the abyss. I didn't want to see that girl raise her child without a father. The princess gazed up at her sister. Peter's heart may belong to Twilight, but my heart belongs to him. I have no regrets about my actions. I did it for the sake of protecting my best friend. If you're going to punish me for that, fine. Just know, if I had to do it all over again, I would, and I will continue to walk this path. Celestia's eyes widened. She stared at her sister, mouth agape. Why are you so stubborn? Just once I would like you to listen for reason! She growled under her breath, shaking her head. Instantly, the Alicorn nodded. I'm with Celestia on this. Fine. Since you are so sure that this is the right course of action, I can only accept it. Lowering her head, Celestia pressed her cheek against Luna's affectionately. I guess you have changed. You went this far for the sake of one individual, an outsider even. I'm happy to see you're finally listening to your heart. Just try to be careful more next time. You're my sister, and I've loved you since the start. You'd crushed me if I lost you. Luna's eyes softened. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you worry. Celestia pulled away, stealing a glance at the other side of the room. Ignis Solaris rested on a pedestal above Celestius. Pierre willingly sacrificed his magic to help sail Nightmare Moon away, right? Loves you as well, clearly. I believe we may need to repay him somehow. Do you have something in mind? Luna paused, nodded before smiling. I believe I do. Velvet paced around her room from a bouncer step. I can't believe it. The mare practically squealed, kissing Twilight's cheeks and forehead multiple times. My little girl's gonna be a mommy, and I'm gonna be a grandmother. Velvet's smile couldn't grow any wider as her host danced in place. What does it have to say? How far are you along? Is it a boy or a girl? Twilight waved at her host dismissively, shook her head frankly. Mom, calm down. Peter chuckled nervously. There's almost nothing to report. The doctor said Twilight's only 8 days pregnant. As far as they know, there aren't any complications to report. The fetus hasn't even taken shape yet. Kane nodded favorously, her cheeks as crimson as her rovers. I bet it's wonderful, carrying a life inside of you. Despite the fact that you two are from different worlds, you managed to come this far. I'm envious and jealous. The Alicorn sobered, her eyes softening. Cadence, just as long as you don't suddenly go mad from the idea that you can never have babies, which I'm glad that the show completely obliterated, and suddenly become a badly named Alicorn god of lust and whatever, and you need Twilight, who's part of this secret organization of killers, to stop you, I'm fine. Because that fix sucked. In hindsight. I'm worried about the baby, though. A normal life is perhaps out of the question now that everybody knows of your baby's biological background. I'm worried about you two as well, and afraid it might be too much for you to handle. Signing nodded, his gaze mirroring his wife's evident concern. What do you two plan to do? Whatever I feel like, I'm the motherfucking princess. Peter's hope fell over Twilight. The pair shared a smile. For now, we'll do what we've always done. I'll be on standby just in case emergencies pop up. But I think it'll be best if I keep a low profile and stay in Ponyville. At least until every pony calms down about the whole alien thing. Twilight inhaled deeply. Princess Celestia pretty much declared that I'm on maternal leave for the next year. She believes this entire scenario will be a great learning experience, and she wants me to give her monthly updates on the progress of my pregnancy. Velvet nodded. I fully agree with her. It's best for you to just focus on the baby for now. Kate says Twilight playfully. I certainly hope you won't ignore us. I've been ignoring all my friends so far. What's the difference? I just want to know that as much as an auntie, I'll come visit you every week. Velvet patted Twilight's free hoof. I will too. I know that you're about to go through. I can help. Nightlight grinned, rubbing the underside of his chin with a hoof. Grandparents. It's a good feeling. I guess I'm just surprised Twilight beat Shining to it. Shining sat on a slump of his chin resting on his hooves. Don't remind me. Keaton says to stop reminding you since he found out about this. I hope you won't mind me waiting too long, dear, Keynes politely stated, although the dark tinted her eyes indicated something else. I mean, you know how much I want to start a family. Shiny's blood grew cold, evident by his blue face. Peter closed his eyes, patting the other stallion's shoulder. Tread lightly, dude. It feels weird being back here, especially after everything I've done. Sunset Simmer stated as she stood outside Carolot's school for gifted unicorns. Twilight smiled, sharing a glance with the mayor. Every pony deserves at least one second chance. You helped us out a lot. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to defeat the Green Goblin. The princess placed a hoof on Shimmer's shoulder. Princess Celestia knows that too. That's why all records of your involvement with the Goblin were cleared. You have a clean slate now. You should make the most of it. Shimmer's ears lowered to her mane. Oh, for crying. I stole your crown. This all started because I was arrogant and jealous. Why are you and Prince Parker trusting me so much? Twilight's smile remained intact. Because you're our friends. It's as simple as that. Besides, you've been mind-controlled, forced to do things that you didn't want to do, and you've hurt it, and you've been through a living hell. And you've already helped us out several times. Any further punishment would just be extraneous right about now, and would just be cruel. And what type of cruel person would want extra punishment for somebody who's already proven themselves multiple times and has already also been through a living hell? Dang straight. Sunset bent down her lip, took it back a sob, slamming her eyes shut. You're going to clear the throne, reflected her nerve. Thanks. I'll try not to mess up this time. I have faith in you. Princess Celestia told me how intelligent you are. This shouldn't be too difficult for you. Twilight giggled, earning a smile from the mayor. Princess Celestia. Sunset trailed off, eyes wide in blank realization. I never understood what she was trying to tell me back when I was her apprentice. She always went on about how a pony's success is not measured by her level of power, magical prowess, or rank. Princess Celestia insisted I use my powers selflessly, for others. I thought she was full of it, but she told me to watch you and Prince Parker. I think I get what she was trying to tell me. Twilight tilted her head to the side. Really? What was it? Shimmer was silent for a duration, pausing to brush a hoof over her wet eyes before nodding. The power is nothing without some pony to share it with. I ended up chasing away every pony in my efforts to become an alicorn. So when I finally did gain all that power, it felt meaningless. I felt alone without my best friend, without Princess Celestia. That's why I saw you and Prince Parker. You two are so powerful, yet you use that only to aid others. Not only that, but you also have the strength of those around you, ponies who support you. You two never turn your backs on anyone to show off. That takes courage. Courage I didn't have. I wasn't nearly as strong as I thought. I was weak, actually. Only now do I realize it takes strength to acknowledge others as equals. As long as you don't give up on your friends, they'll never give up on you. Twilight whispered, smiling gently. That's why I'll never give up. I'm going to protect the world. I'm going to protect my friends, Peter, and you. You have friends, Twilight? Well, in this universe, they're more like hangers-on. Tears that Sunset forcibly held back finally broke through her resolve into kind Alicorn's words. Despite being given a second chance, she felt she didn't deserve such kindness from the mayor whose life she tried to destroy out of envy. Words tried to form in the mayor's mouth, But all that came was a series of choked sobs. Before long, Sarah simply broke down into tears. Twice expressed it softly greatly as he reached out and potently pulled her crying friend into a tight hug. The Alcorn began to speak, but a flurry of apologies came first. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Sunset wailed, burying her muzzle in Twilight's mane. I was so cruel to you and Peter. I'm sorry I stole your crown. For getting you involved with the Green Goblin. For hurting you. For everything. I'm patting the sand bearer's back. Twilight selfishly sussed her. It's okay, Sunset. It's okay. Every pony makes mistakes and bad choices, the Alcorn reassured her. Of course, if you're some people on certain forums, as far as they're concerned, if you make one mistake in your life and only slowly try to fix yourself, that means that you're immediately responsible for death. What matters is that you learn from them. Sunset continued to cry for several long moments before nodding her head, taking a step back from Twilight. Wiping her muzzle with a sniffle, she nodded once more. I know, I've learned a lot from all this. Twilight beamed at her a gentle smile. That everything will be fine. A long silence fell between the mares as Sunset sniffled away in place. I probably should get going. Twilight looked away, supersweet scratching the back of her neck. Yeah, I probably should get going too. Taking a few steps of her first towards her school, Sunset paused for a moment. I should graduate within a year or two. During that time, will it be too much trouble if I came to see you all? Twilight let out a small chuckle. Of course. You're welcome to visit Ponyville any time, Sunset. Peter would like to see you as well. I'll even introduce you to my friends. Sunset opened her mouth, all ready to respond back. The school's bell chimed, ringing across the airwaves. Her gaze alternated between the door and the princess frantically. Twilight waved her hope dismissively. Don't worry, we'll talk later. You should get going. Don't want you to be late. Sunset hesitated briefly, before bowing her head out of respect. Thank you, Twilight. She trailed off, right towards the school with a skip in her step. For everything. A couple of days had passed since Celestia and Luna had their talk, and Peter found himself within the arcades of the room of the castle. He stared at the glowing pair of sky-blue gauntlets on his hooves, with a widened gaze before smirking. There was a black spiral emblem on top, and arrows he emitted from the weapons. He flipped high in the air and landed on his hind legs, throwing a series of punches. Well, these things are pretty sweet, he cheered, arching a brow. Where did you get these from? Luna walked over to Peter's side, giving the stallion a smile. Thousands of years have passed since Celestia and Igneous Solaris were forged. My sister and I are familiar with the materials and techniques needed to forge weapons similar to those two. They will enhance your strength and repel most forms of magic. Seeing as you are without magic now, I thought this would compensate for the loss. Just when I thought you would actually understand. Celestia grinned. Fortunately, because of the spell that keeps Nightmare Moon locked away, we were able to infuse your signature and essences with the gauntlets. They'll only react to you. The Alcorn bent her head out of respect. Consider it my thanks for everything you've done for Twilight, my sister in Equestria. Luna closed the gap, kissing Pierre on the cheek. I consider it my thanks for everything. Pierre scratched the back of his head, chuckling sheepishly. Thanks. This means a lot. He stopped, removing the gauntlets from his hose before offering to Luna. Would you mind keeping these here? They enhance my strength. I'll need them for emergencies. Heaven forbid if I punch somebody and knock their heads off. Luna nodded. I understand. But keep them alongside Celestius and Ignis Solaris. Sweet Apple Acres, a serene and tranquil abode, was experiencing yet another perfect day. The sky was clear, and the temperature was warm, accompanied by a gentle breeze. However, for Peter, it felt as if a dark cloud was hovering over his head. The entire week had passed since Princess Celestia gave her speech, but the ponies of Equestria had grown increasingly wary of his presence. Some kept their distance, while others looked on in disdain. Peter had very few friends at this point, even a small circle was missing, with Fluttershy too afraid to hold a conversation with him. I would tell you how out of character this is, and Fluttershy would be staying with Peter no matter what. I could tell you how this is an insult to her as a character, to think that just because she saw something like that would mean she would run away. I could say that. But I think I'd be repeating myself. This fig is slime. Fortunately, Applejack and Applebloom were still close, not caring about what had transpired. And there's some debate. It was designed to keep May's biological background and her relationship to Pierre a secret from society was best course of action. After a visit to the doctor, the mare proved to be healthy, vibrant, and normal. In fact, better than normal. Perhaps it was due to the magic of transformation, but May was now considerably younger than she was as a human, going from a human woman in her 50s to the equivalent of a mare in her 30s. Pierre watched his aunt from a distance, shaking his head. It's so weird. She was old enough to be my grandmother back on Earth. Now she's young enough to be my big sister. He started involuntarily. I really hope things don't turn weird. Do you like Circle Cube? Applejack chuckled, standing on her hind legs as he leaned over the fence. Okay, you might be wondering why I find this stupid, but not Aunt May becoming younger and younger as the movies go on. That's because life expectancy and the ability to look younger and younger has been increasing in the United States ever since Aunt May's time. What could potentially be in her 50s or old back when it was in the 60s is considerably different than it is now. Shoot, my mom's in her late 50s and you wouldn't know it. With the advent of technology and stuff like that, life expectancy has grown up increasingly. Are you sure you're fine with this, Applejack? Pierre questioned, alternating his gaze between the barn and her farm. Applejack smiled, patting the stallion's shoulder reassuringly. No problem, Pete. We have plenty of room, and I'll help your aunt adjust. You can't keep her cooped up in that castle. You have to let her breathe, Pete. Pierre exhaled, shaking his head. I know, He trailed off to the side, shifting his gait to the side. I'm worried, you know. You saw how everybody reacted during Celestia's speech. They don't know what to think of me. If they found out Aunt May's an alien or was related to me, she'll be an outcast too. Applejack furrowed a brow. I still don't get why everybody's acting so uptight about it. See? The pattern continues. Rainbow Dash isn't around, so Applejack has to be the one to knock some sense. The air around the pair seemed to lighten. Pierre took under his breath. Maybe you're the weird one then. I mean, you, Twilight, and the others never thought about the alien thing once. Partner, you saved two of my best friends when you first got here. That's an easy way to earn some point stress right there, she stated, nodding before shifting her gaze to the right of the trees on the other side of the ranch. My folks raised me to judge a pony by her accents, not by the looks. That's why I could care less about what you were and where you came from. Because what I saw in you was an honest-to-goodness kind pony. Her blonde face glowed with a smile. Apple was relaxing, and I think Twilight couldn't have chosen a better pony. Shaking his head, Snelly scoffed. What about Nightmare Moon? Didn't that scare you? Without a hint of hesitation, Applejack shrugged. Well, Princess Luna got that out of you, right? It's the last thing I better for you, dear. The farm mare eyed honestly. You seem like the same old plate to me. Pierre's eyes softened. Thanks, Applejack. It really means a lot to me. I don't mention it, Applejack replied, waving a hoof dismissively. That's what our friends for, right? Peaceful silence passed between the two for a short time, before Pierre spoke up. I still think it'd be a good idea for you and the others to avoid walking me in public. Death by association, you know. Me and my friends are nationally regarded heroes. I run the farm that produces a lot of food for the ponies of Equestria. If they have a problem, they can take it up with my hooves. And Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, and Rarity will all tell you the same thing. So you wouldn't have to worry about any of that. The sounding pauses May walked alongside Apple Bloom and Big Mac, maintaining her balance much better than usual. Pierre returned his line of sight to Applejack's and relaxes. Everybody's in a panic, and it's because of me. I don't want Aunt May's name to be slandered because of me. Promise me that you guys would. Too many me's there. Will not tell anybody she's related to me. She needs a fresh start. How's it not? As far as I'm concerned, Blake's a member of the family, so don't you worry about Blake. We'll look after her. The fireplace smiled, pausing as he watched May adjust Apple Bloom's bow. She's only been here for a little bit, but she's already getting along well with every pony. Apple Bloom and Great Smith are really taking a shot to her. But May almost reminds me of my mom. Abstract said abruptly, clearing her throat, whilst the stallion arched her brow, waving her dismissively. The air tried to the rants. Anywho, stop overthinking things, Plate. You'll be much happier when you do. Plate knows the stallion stared somewhere into the clear sky. Hey, you're daydreaming again, she whispered, giving her lovely green circular appears as hazel's irises. Twice swing stretched out before folding back to her side. You've been really... She paused, struggling to find the right words. Out of it all week. So you're staring into space for a few minutes. What's wrong? Slow to respond, Pierre glanced out to his side, gazing at the village of Ponyville. Green Goblin's finally gone, but it doesn't feel like I've lost. Because this Fick can't decide whether or not it wants you to be happy or not. I should be happy, but it feels like things are worse than they've ever been. No, they're not. Peter, in one world, you're very, very, very rich. You're a well-respected hero with tons of friends. Over here, you're a freaking prince. You're loved by your friends and family, the most important ones to you. You have superpowers. You saved all of Equestria. Yes, the ponies acting rather stupid would be cause for alarm if we don't realize that the moment you start saving lives and helping every pony out, every pony will suddenly start to get used to you and not care anymore. So this small little smudge on your rep is not important. So no. All the other Spider-Men would bitch slap you for how you're acting right about now. You know it's not. Oh, and by the way, you have a hot, sexy wife and a child on the way. And people wonder why I think this relationship is toxic as hell. You know it's not like that, Pete. I, for one, think that you are being overly emo. The mayor trailed off at a disturbing sight he handed upon their arrival to Ponyville. Silence reigned over the crowd as every villager within range stopped in their tracks, staring intently at the stallion standing beside her. Some fillies ran away out of trepidation, while others hid underneath their parents. Hushed whispers escaped from this crowd. It's Spider-Man! What a freak! Why is he even still here? Murmured the voice of another mare behind the pair. It's all his fault that this even happened. Where's the softest wall? Even though the fix's last few minutes, it found a way to piss me off. Why? What did I ever do to you, Vic? Let's stop you from attacking us, as Celestia hiding behind her adult. No, that's kind of a stupid question. Why would I? No. The glares intensified, some ponies looking on with disgust, while others shook their heads out of frustration. Pierre's eyes softened, the cruel reality striking his core. He was an alien among an aware populace, the pink elephant in the room. He was a potential vessel for Nightmare Moon, a violent individual. So's Luna, and every pony's gotten used to her now. Pierre felt tiny, diminishing, under the world's shadow. He could never truly be happy, not while the entire world knew the truth. The stallion sped off into distance, only wanting to disappear. This scene is stupid. Pierre, wait! Twilight called out. 15 yards of race and Pierre ran off too. Twilight was taken aback by how much distance was put herself into the stallion in a span of a couple of seconds. Pierre! However, her cry was for naught. Pierre hopped high into the air, saw a strand of webbing against the roof of a house. managing to slink himself away. The mayor ready to follow the stallion, but pauses to remember surrounding spectators. Twilight looked at the crowd angrily, a hard glare casting down upon them all. What is wrong with all of you? Force trauma! Oh, well, that explains everything. Pierre has done nothing wrong to any of you. You should be almost ashamed of yourselves for treating you like this. There's no excuse for this unacceptable behavior. Her eyes glowed momentarily, so just back off! The stunned crowd fell silent at the intensity of the princess's accured wrath. Hey, Twilight, there's this fic out there written by an idiot called Equestria Civil War. If you could go over there and say that. Twilight let out a hard snort before fancying a flash of light, materializing several yards away. The Alcorn's eyes widened and ears perked as she saw the door to her home slam shut. She sighed inwardly, relieved that Pierre chose at least to retreat home in contrast to the everfree forest. Twilight quietly entered the treeberry, furrowing her brow after failing to locate her cold friend inside. Following a sudden hunch, she glanced towards the ceiling, expressive falling at the particular sight above. There he was, just walking down the street, singing diddy-dum, resting soundly in the middle of a nav webbing. It was poetic justice to enter the spider's web, literally. However, Twilight wasn't about to continue from her current location. Pierre lifted his head once Twilight materialized near his partition, smiling. Stallion failed to make her gaze as he shamelessly glanced to the side, ears lowering into his mane. I don't blame any of them, Pierre whispered. I would complain, but I'm just a few paragraphs away from the ending, Pierre whispered, finally finding the strength to speak his mind honestly. I tried to earn everybody's trust, but all I did was show them that I'm just as monster as the Green Goblin was. Even Fluttershy is afraid of me now. Yes, the author decided to use the last of his strength to insult me. I'm just a freak. If I can't learn to trust myself, how can I earn anybody's trust after everything that's happened? Unhappy to watch her cold friend remain in such a sad state, Twilight brought her hoof under Pierre's chin and lifted his muzzle to meet her lips. The Alcorn's kiss was deep, full of passion, only parting momentarily to breathe and then to deepen the kiss further. Pierre Dwight again Twilight in, tightening his embrace around the mare. She moaned contentedly as the grass opening aroused and allowed the stallion to explore the inner direction of her muzzle with her tongue over her eyes partly. She gazed luminally into the one who had stolen her heart so long ago. Twilight pulled away. Miss Pierce's space he got Sally a confident smile. She continued to follow the example, pleading with her heart and giving him a simple, mighty, yet honest answer. One pony at a time. Or two in this case. Pierre's eyes shot wide and opened at the statement. Once again, he found a way to doubt himself, while Twilight never stopped believing in him for a second. It would take time to earn Equestria's trust back, for that no longer felt as troublesome as it did moments ago. Pierre wrapped his hose around Twilight's neck while she did the same. Both ponies smiled, throwing all sense of doubt to the wayside while locking each other's loving gaze. They had each other, and they were going to start a family. Pierre kissed Twilight's cheek, causing the mare to shiver involuntarily. I love you. Twilight smiled. I love you too. The elephant glanced off to the side, tracing the strands of webbing attached to her footcases. This webbing, it does come off, right? Pierre blinked before following her line of sight to the bookcases below. He chuckled, 30 minutes, it'll be gone. Cast a smug smile. Come on, I know better to dibs your books. 30-year-old Twilight let out a sigh with a sigh of relief. Good. Taking a moment's notice, he realizes her hug. We only have 11 months to prepare for the baby. Do you think we'll be ready? Pierre shrugged. Only time will tell, he declared, smiling as he gazed out at the sun beyond the window. But I think our future is looking pretty bright. Oh, no, it isn't, because now it's review time. And believe me, I don't think I am speaking too far away from hyperbole when I say this fanfic friggin' sucks! It's the most confusingly hated thing I've ever done on this show. I despise this fic with every fiber of my being, even more so than the One Piece fic and the Wonder Woman story. Because, with the One Piece fic, at least Luffy was a character. Yeah, it basically was just a play-by-play of the Impel Down arc plus its friend, the Whitebeard War. And yeah, it had Ace die anyway, and it had the most disparaging of all tropes, Celestia. But at least it was a One Piece fic. At least it was entertaining because it was One Piece. And at least the Wonder Woman fic, when it wasn't just being Wonder Woman is awesome, the girls are not, at least Wonder Woman was an entertaining, interesting character that I could enjoy. This fic has none of those things. It has none of those exceptions. It's got none of those excuses. But if you guys have stayed with me throughout the past 4 years we've been doing this show, I think you know how the reviews go. If it's a fic I really like, then the bad stuff usually comes from front, and then I start talking about the stuff I love. If it's a fic I hate, it's the good stuff first, bad stuff second. So here we are. The good. I gotta admit, though the author tried to talk to me about the grammar, other than the times when the story would have the words run into each other like a freight train, this was competently written. I mean it. There were none of the old traps I've seen from other bad writers like Mikan, where somebody forgets to press the enter button. The comma wasn't that badly abused. I knew who was talking in the conversations, and it didn't feel like the grammar was too bad. Really, I could also identify other people's voices. All in all, competently, structurally well written. Also, I gotta give this fic credit for a guy who was only in his 20s and writing just his first fic. The fight scenes? Beautiful! They're well choreographed, well directed, well written, and well done. They move at such a beautiful pace. Everybody had a chance to shine in these fight scenes. And I got to see some really good choreographed moments, and the scenes just flowed perfectly. I didn't begin to tell you any of the fight scenes because, quite frankly, I didn't feel like these fight scenes had at any point of being in this story. It's like watching a bad martial arts film where there's a great martial arts scene. You feel kind of bad for the martial arts scene for being in the movie because the rest of the movie sucks. That's what this feels like. I'm seeing all these good action scenes, and all I can think of is, why are you here, action scene? Could you be anywhere else? Could you have been in a bad Mikan fic? I.e. a normal Mikan fic? But nope. We got some pretty awesome fight scenes. Next on my list, Celestia. I know this sounds weird talking about all the bad things with Celestia and talking about how badly all the other characters are done later on. But trust me when I say that this is a pretty good Celestia. What do I mean by that? Well, think of all the other Celestias that we've done. We've had Xenolestia. We've had Useless Celestia. And we've had Slut Celestia. This Celestia doesn't have any of those problems. She's not xenophobic. Very accepting of Peter Parker. To the point where I'm wondering why is it even a problem for the populace to care? And doesn't even mind humans. She doesn't have any desires to possess her power, and she's quite forgiving and kind. She has a lot of emotions. She's a pretty well done Celestia. Wish she was more of a chess mistress, though, but I'm okay. I got nothing. My site for user, maybe you shouldn't read the later stories. Why? It has some little bit of hits of China Celestia, and I'm docking that point! But you get my point. And when Peter isn't moping or being God, namely the Peter Parker of the earlier chapters, he actually does feel like Peter. He's quipping, he's joking along, he's having a good time and being funny. That part of Peter I'm okay with. And I gotta admit, for the first time in reading a lot of Spider-Man fics, I found a story where they decided to try to throw in everything from Spider-Man's very long storied history. Not just the comics, but bits of the movie, parts of the video game franchises, like Marvel vs. Capcom, and bits of some of the cartoons as well. I really enjoyed it. And if you can actually get away with copying off the basic story of Marvel Ultimate Alliance to the point where nobody knows this but me, I gotta give you credit. That's a pretty good job. Because, let's face it, if I'm the only one, that kind of shows how geeky and how much of a leap you need to make in order to realize where it's taken from. Gotta give him credit for that. Also, this is not in fault of the story, but for otherwise, you gotta enjoy an author who actually does realize his first story sucks and full of plot holes. And now comes the rest. I don't know if maybe I've addressed this during the commentary, but the pacing on this fic, it sucks. It sucks so damn hard. It's like, it gets out of a plot point, then spends 30 chapters getting to that point. Oh, we got such and such time until Discord comes over and destroys all of us. Might as well relax. Go to the gala, have a few short ones. We have a few months until Osborn shows up! Not too big of a deal. Peter Parkinson's powers are slowly dwindling. Not like the world's going to end. Oh my gosh, we're back on Earth! And Osborn is slowly destroying and attacking and devastating the entire planet! I'm kind of weak right about now. Might as well relax. It's like if on 24, you're watching it, and then suddenly, after they tell you the time limit and bring out the clock, we spend a whole episode watching Jack Bauer doing his freaking taxes! Or on Star Trek, we're told that the Borg is coming closer towards the Alpha Quadrant, and we spend the entire next episode doing nothing but talking about Dan's emotional issues! It pads itself. It is so damn slow. But Leatherbringer, what about DBZ? You love that show and it's filled with filler. You also really love the Cell arc filler where Goku and Gohan just relax. You also love the driving arc filler. Also, there are Pacific Moon fillers that you enjoy. Well, here's the difference. When it came to the Cell filler, yeah, we just saw the characters relax and chill out for 7 days while waiting for 10 days while the tournament arrives. And we just see Goku relax. Here's the problem. Goku was at that point where he thought, okay, I can't go any further. I'm going to put everything I've got on my son. I know Gohan can win this. I know Gohan's got this. He can handle this. He'll just need to bring out the Warriors instinct. I'm pretty positive he has. Even though Goku doesn't realize Gohan doesn't have it. So, Might as well relax, so we got time. Not to mention, he also wanted to see the secrets. He knew that Cell was at a limit that he couldn't take. He knew that sooner or later Cell would win that war of attrition. So, yeah. He knew. We were seeing a guy who was basically relaxing because he knew he could. But even then, we had images of Cell just relaxing, waking. We had scenes of Vegeta and Trunks training in the hyperbolic time chamber. We had scenes of Piccolo training in the hyperbolic time chamber. We still knew that the threat was obvious. We still knew that there was a threat of Cell. Androids, same thing. But we had even longer to wait. We had 3 years. Yeah, we could have been watching the characters trying to hunt down Dr. Gero, but let's not forget, Goku, Vegeta did not want that. So they tried Vegeta and Goku. Well, okay. Goku does that nicely. Vegeta would start the killing. And nobody wants that. See what I mean? Even in some of the fillers where there are tournament arcs waiting that's only about such and such days away, we see the characters train, we see the characters focus, we see the characters think about it. Even in comic book arcs where we know that there's a deadline, we see characters work, we see characters talking about it, we see villains getting ready to do their plans. This fic doesn't do that. It doesn't decide to give us any of that. It just figures out, okay, you guys, there's like 3 months until Discord comes. 3 months till D-Day, dudes. Okay. It doesn't give us any of that. It doesn't give us a story where we have time to relax and enjoy the characters. Because the characters don't treat it as a threat. Throughout every single one of these chapters, I never once thought it was a threat. I never once thought that Discord was a threat. Never once thought that Osborn was a threat. Because they didn't think it was a threat. And if the characters didn't care, why should I? And I don't mind if you saw this padding. Once again, Arcade Strikers 3 Senshi. We knew there were time limits. But, you know what we did see? We also saw the characters preparing, we saw the characters working for it, and we had time to interact with the characters. Do you know what would have made all this useless padding worthwhile? If we cared about the characters. You see, it's all circular here. If I do not care about Spider-Man, if I do not care about their story and them as people, then how can you expect me to care about their interactions or if Peter actually likes Twilight or not? How can you expect me to care about that and then suddenly start caring about the time limit? I didn't care about the time limit, and I didn't care about the characters. So thus, there was no reason for me to get infested with your useless padding! That's the other big difference. Dragon Ball Z? I care about Goku. I care about Gohan. I care about Vegeta. So if I'm seeing an episode where Gohan is taking the time to help out a small village, I don't mind that. If I see an episode where Goku's trying to drive, fine. And I think that's what would have helped this fic. If we had seen more things like, say, Peter Parker trying to fix his power loss. If we had seen things like Twilight using her intelligence with Seeds of Vanish off the map to try to solve the goblin problem. If we had just seen things like that, or Pony's worried about the time limit, then maybe this would have felt like useless padding. But it did. And what's more, it did not endear me to these characters. And what happens later on in the story? The scenes that would have helped me endure myself to these characters, those scenes that should have been used to build up Spider-Man's relationship with all these people in the web, were put near the end. Right near the big conflict. Where I did not care about the equestrians! I cared more about seeing Peter trying to save the fucking planet! But nope. We got to have moments where we take a break and see how important Peter is because he helped Sweet Belle out that one time. We also got to see how important he is to Apple Bloom because he helped Apple Bloom that one time and helped out Skidaloo. And Peter Parker says, so got Scully G awesome, isn't he? Well, The Peter Parker I know and love is awesome. This one is not. But I'll be getting to that. The next problem with this is the villains in the villain choice. Look, I do love a well-written Osborn as much as the next Spider-Man fan. I do love it when Osborn is being awesome. But this was not Osborn. This felt more like somebody decided to grab as much Joker qualities as they could and give it to Osborn. Which, while Osborn could be seen as Pierce's own personal Joker, it's not the way you do Osborn. Doesn't help that this fic took my favorite Spider-Man villain, Dr. Octopus, and killed him off early. But in reality, all these villains failed. Mainly because sometimes the villains all felt kind of samey to me. They all felt like they were just mooks and nothing more. And when we got to guys like, say, Osborn, they might as well have just been mustache twirlers or bad Sentai villains who just sat back and did nothing. It really didn't give us any characterization beyond, he's Osborn. He's Peter's arch nemesis. Ooh. You forget why Osborn is a good character. You forget why Osborn is deep. You forget why Osborn actually is important to Pierce's mythos. Interestingly enough, this fic leaves out Harry. Don't want to deal with that, Harry, now do we? Or are we trying to say Harry doesn't exist so that way we can conveniently leave that part out? Because I would love to see that happen. This did tick me off more. In Discord, while I do love that he wasn't completely insulted and they showed that he was pulling off a light on all of us, I have to wonder if this isn't a double-edged sword. On the one point, okay, yeah, Discord ignored him. On the other hand, why didn't Discord go for Doom? Or Thanos, or somebody bigger, or somebody more capable of causing chaos? Why didn't Discord do more? Maybe it's because Discord barely had any screen time, so I couldn't really believe that Discord had just planned all this, or he felt, or Discord was really faking it all this time. I mean, in reality, we only had a few scenes with Discord that, boop, bye, toodles, nothing left. And then we go with Venom, and, well, you know how ticked off I was about that. Oh, look, it's the Venom symbiote. I'm going to actually forget that I care a lot about Peter and Eddie Brock and go over to Luna because I'm want her love, like some sort of freaking deranged changeling. And this was an interesting fact brought up by my little brother as he's listening to it. Everybody seems to be crying at the drop of a hat in this story. And while I don't mind a good tearjerker scene, these seem to become too frequently. It's like everybody was willing to just start breaking down to tears if they were so much as wronged or something. It's kind of annoying. And here comes my biggest problem. The use or mishandling of all the other characters beyond Celestia. I would like to talk about the main five if they freaking existed. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but the main five had everything that was associated with their characterizations, their traits, or anything that made them individuals zapped out of them. This wasn't even flatterization. Flatterization I could forgive. But here, I just felt like the fic just wanted to forget everything everybody had. Okay, that's not true. Alisac actually felt something. This is, of course, the reason why I loved her. Alisac actually felt like she had a little bit of something to her, but everybody else, no. They all fell into the same category. They all want Pierce's dick. That's it. Well, except for Pinky. But I feel like this fic is slime when it dealt with Pinky. No, worse than slime. It's a black hole for what it did to her. But it doesn't have her friends insulting her. It might as well did. It might as well doesn't said that her friends don't like her, don't care about her, and everybody hates her. That's what this fic did. It basically just said that Pinky is not important to anyone. How did it do so? Subtly. And most likely, the author didn't even realize he did it. You see, during that scene where Madame Web was telling everybody that Pierre was this center of the web that connected everybody to their thoughts and feelings and their emotions, you'll note that Pinky was farther away. For one good reason. Pinky did not fall in love with Pierre, unlike the other girls. What also shows that Pierre did not care for Pinky all that much. He felt Pinky was farther away. A complete stranger. And Twilight was in the center of that. Which means that Pinky, who tries her best to make everybody happy, even though it fails, tries her best to laugh or giggle, tries her best to, see the bright side of things, is treated as a complete stranger. And it's basically told to fuck off because you are not part of Pierce's harem. Oh, Pinkie Pie, go away. And that pisses me off. Because I do relate to Pinky. I do try to keep everybody up. I do try to keep everybody optimistic. And I'm seeing this fic basically giving her the big old middle finger. Just because she was trying to make Pierre happy. Fuck this fic. Rainbow Dash. Nope. No characterization here beyond her usual arrogance. But we don't even get to see why she has the ability to be arrogant beyond just, oh, well, she's quite talented. How? We barely even see any of that. And of course, Rarity is just Rarity, but there's something important about Rarity I want to bring up in a little bit. Luna has basically turned into nothing more than just, oh, I'm not that moon, not because of the anger and the jealousy I feel towards my sister, not because I feel like the world has ignored me for the art that I love, not because I feel like everyone has abandoned me and has decided to take reign somewhere else and treated me like I was nothing. No, I'm Nightmare Moon now, and Venom because I want the Parker Peak. It just feels like this fic really wanted me to agree that Peter Parker is so perfect, is so amazing, and that was a perfectly good reason to go Nightmare Moon, and just spit on all over the lore. And all over Luna. The only female character that I feel like came out of this with any of her dignity intact is, of course, the one, the only, the great and powerful Trixie. But Trixie is my boss, and I'm kind of required to say that by law. Which brings me to what I really hate about what they did with the main five. Treating them as nothing but scenery. Treating them as nothing but toys to be taken in and thrown away. It was like they were there just to show that, hey, I've actually seen the show. Here are the main six. Say goodbye to the other 5. Toodles! Oh, and of course, Fluttershy's written horribly out of character, too. As, even if Fluttershy would see something that frightening, if it was with her friend, Fluttershy would be there to comfort him. Fluttershy would be there by his side to offer a warm shoulder. Fluttershy would actually be there to offer help, because that is who Fluttershy is. She isn't just some sort of doll that goes, "Oh no, I see something scary. I'm broken. Whee! Whee! That is an insult to Fluttershy, and that is an insult to everybody who has a personality. Congratulations! You just insulted every single side person out there by telling them that they can never grow and forget they have any inner strength. No. The moment you see something bad happening, you gotta sit back and cry like a little baby and run away in fear. Which is not Fluttershy at all! But you see what I mean? They're nothing but set pieces. They're nothing but toys to be brought out and played with for a few minutes before thrown away. This is exemplified when Twilight is standing on top of a balcony and the others are below. Twilight was alone there, showing off that, no, she didn't need them. She didn't need them to be by her side. Say what you will about the Equestria Girls, but at least it showed that Twilight could bring them together, and that she needed them to help hold her up. Say what you will about the movie, but at least we saw scenes where we showed why Twilight needs them. She needs them because she knows that there are parts of her that she fails at. She still fails at trusting other ponies sometimes, other creatures sometimes. She still fails at opening her heart automatically. She still fails at certain parts of her. She needs them because they can do things she can't. And say what you will about the other Equestria Girls movies, at least they have time to shine sometimes. And say what you will about what happened with Applejack and Fluttershy. At least they were there. At least they spoke. At least they talked. Here, there is none of that. They show up, say a few lines, and then leave. This fic basically just said, you guys aren't important because you don't have boyfriends. And you want to know where this is more exemplified? I took a small peek at a review at some of the later stories. And guess what? Several years down the line, after May Parker is growing up, the other girls don't have boyfriends! So yeah, that's how little importance they are to Twilight's life. To the point where she could actually activate the Harmony Beam, the Rainbow of Light, without them. Because they're not part of the romance. And if they're not part of the romance, they're useless. They are pointless. And they can't do anything about it. Because Pierre and Twilight are gods, and the others aren't. And I'm surprised nobody really has complained about this. Well, TV Tropes has pointed out that they become out of focus, but I don't know about you guys, but as a fan, I'm insulted. This is an ensemble piece. But this reminds me of the problems I have with Sailor Moon Crystal. The other Senshi are involved in the romance of Usagi and Mamo-chan, so thus they weren't important. They didn't have any characterizations, weren't allowed to be people, and thus weren't important. Forget Friends of His Magic, the only thing you need is lust. And I would say romance, but that's not what this is. Sailor Moon Crystal had romance, this did not. The characters were worthless in the end. Which brings me to my biggest problems. Peter and Twilight. Allow me to start by bringing up a counterpoint towards Lacar's review on One More Day when he was talking about Peter. And I want to say this. I don't hate the Cars review of One More Day. It's fantastic. And I don't hate the speech. It was really good. It talks about what happens with a badly written Peter. It kind of shows why One More Day sucks. Yes, Peter Parker's life can sometimes be seen as an unnecessary, an endless stream of misery, sadness, and failures. But that's only when you look at it small. Because here's one thing I know about Peter. Peter Parker is human. He's a human you. He's human us. Yes, you can always claim that the reason why you love Batman is because you can be Batman. The truth is, you can't. In order to be Batman, you have to dedicate yourself for years. You have to learn every martial art and become a black belt at all of them. And some of those, you can't train at the same time, you know. You have to be able to have said that you have read 99% of the books in a library and know them back and forth. You have to be able to say that you could plan and strategize everything at 5 minutes. And also you have to be stupid rich. Batman's only power isn't that he's stupid rich, it's that he's determined. He was determined to be the best, and he was. You can't also be Superman, because you're not a Kryptonian. But Peter is us. He could be anyone walking down the street. He could be the girl next door that is trying her best to become a CNA. He could be the guy who is trying to be a nursing assistant and trying his best to make everybody happy. He could be the tech student who gets worried that he's not doing enough. He could be any one of us. And that's what is important about Peter Parker. That's why seeing him lose Gwen and then say, oh, it's Goblin, ruins it so much. Because Superman doesn't have to worry about making that choice. Because he can't fail. He won't know. Batman can't fail. They would both find a way. Spider-Man can fail. And he has. That's what makes him human. Could any of us really say that if given a choice, would we really have let Gwen die? Or would we actually done something to save her if we had the ability to? When I see bits of Peter having to struggle with his life, I know some people could say, oh sure, it's easy enough to, mix the responsibilities of your normal life, of your superhero life. I could do it. But that's hindsight. That's you thinking you can. That's not you really sitting back and thinking about the complexities of life, of the things you've got to do. Sure, you can say it's easy enough to set up a schedule. Oh, sure, it's easy enough to say, I can go and fix this. I can just do this. I think it's all going to be easy. Oh, sure. For example, if you were to get $1 million, you could say, I'm on Easy Street. Woo! Then you gotta start thinking about taxes. How to keep that money rolling in. How to keep your standard of living. Sometimes hindsight clogs our minds. But it does it with Peter. Because we know that deep down, life gets complicated. And that's what Pierre has to deal with. Considerably, he deals with it in the most human way possible. He tries to put everything he can into action. When I look at that panel that Likara showed of Spider-Man talking to those trainees about his life and how some of those kids were trying to say, well, you could do this pattern, or you could do this, or you could do that. And Pierre had no response. I couldn't help but think of what I would do if I was in that position. And rather than try to let Pierre be silent and let him take it all in as a part of a gag, I would actually have Pierre break down why they don't work. Because it isn't easy. It really isn't. It isn't easy to mix the responsibilities of being the hero who has to rush in and save a person. It isn't easy to mix that with maintaining a girlfriend or having a steady life with your family. Even breaking down and telling your family who you are, that wouldn't solve all the problems. Having the money to do it wouldn't solve the problems. This is why One More Day sucks to me. Because it gave Peter the easy button. It gave Peter an easy way out. And that's not who he is. There shouldn't be an easy button. In the recent Spider-Man game, when Aunt May was about to die thanks to that virus, and Peter had a choice. It was at that moment it showed me how awesome Peter is. Because he chose the people over his aunt. Because that's what Peter does. Could any of us really have said we would find that choice to be easy? To allow our mother, our father, brother, sister die versus saving them? I could tell you one thing, it wouldn't be easy for me. One life for 1,000. But they never said the quality of that life. Or how you feel about that person. Peter made a hard choice. And that is what makes him so great. Likara tries to say that if Peter had any real responsibility, he would give up being Spider-Man a long time ago. But no, that's not being irresponsible. That's being irresponsible. Because if we have the power to change things and make life a little bit better, then don't we have the responsibility to step up and actually try? If a doctor has the ability to change lives, shouldn't he? If the police officer has the chance to protect somebody, shouldn't he? So no. I argue that Peter is being as responsible as any human can be when granted that gift. That is why the tragedy of Uncle Ben works so well, and why Peter has stayed with us. Because, in the end, Peter Parker reminds us that in our lives, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things like mess up a schedule, or being unable to be there for somebody, or being able to move on, or being able to be there all the time, or being able to schedule properly, or sometimes responsibilities will take us over somewhere else. He reminds us that we will make mistakes with our lives and our relationships. But that's okay. Because in spite of Pierce's life being, seen as sometimes by some people as a never-ending list of failures, people forget his strong accomplishments of saving people, of helping the little guy, of getting the girl, of sometimes making things better. And that, to me, is the greatest lesson from Peter Parker I take, from my third favorite superhero. We are going to make mistakes. Accidents will happen. And we're going to do things that sometimes we'll never forgive ourselves for. But there will always be another day. And we can always pick ourselves up and make things just a little bit better. Not perfect, not positively wonderful, but just a little bit better. And in the end, we can say that that's okay. This fic takes all of that I love about Peter Parker and throws it out the window to turn him into a freaking Gary Stew. And I don't like throwing that term around anymore because it's been so abused by the general populace that I feel like it's forgotten all its now meaning. But yeah, it's what it does to him. It takes everything about Pierre and throws it out the window. Forget who he is or what he does, or why he does it. It takes him from being just a guy on the street to a freaking prince. Oh, he doesn't have to worry about any money anymore. He doesn't have to worry about his job. But wait, I know what you're thinking. But he still has to worry about the ponies of Equestria hating him. No, he doesn't. Because once he starts saving lives and helping people, the ponies are going to forget that. They've forgiven Nightmare Moon. They've forgiven Starlight. Okay, the people are going to forget that. It's going to slowly fade until it's only be brought up once in a while by somebody because of reasons. Pierre is my age and Twilight does it? Nope! Give him long-lasting life. Pierre has magic. Oh, we'll take that away, but we're going to give him magic gauntlets. Pierre is filled with guilt for Gwen Stacy. Nope! She was killed by Goblin. This fic decides to look at you in the eyes, take everything you love about Spider-Man, and destroy it. You can't even enjoy Pierce's moments where he's feeling down about himself because they overdo it. Yeah, I know Pierre mopes. That's perfectly fine. But if you were a non-Spider-Man fan reading this, you would think he was moping and crying about every aspect of his life 24/7. You want to see good Peter moping? Play the Spider-Man PS4 game. There, loses the apartment, feels down, but goes, yeah, it sucks. But maybe I can release some attention by being us the bad guys, which he does. Or, oh man, I feel bad for what happened with me and MJ. Well, time to relax. He may feel it, but he also has time to push it up forward. Because let's face it, being Spider-Man is kind of his job, like being a policeman. A masked policeman, but really, if you were a guy who worked on the force and you just had something bad happen to your life, you can't really tell me you're not going to go, man, sucks my kid is getting bullied, but really, time to focus on my job. It takes all of that. And I think the biggest time I came to a realization about this was near the finale when Peter got that magic sword and started absorbing fire. At that point, I had to ask myself, was this even Spider-Man anymore? Because I don't imagine Spider-Man with swords and magic and all that. And you know what to me would have been the easiest way to solve all your problems with the whole entire thing? With magic and all that? Simple. Make him a bloody earth pony. There, you've given him all of his agility, and you don't have to worry about giving him magic. But nope, for some odd reason, needs to be magical wielding. And everything comes so easy to him now. Yeah, I know he gets hurt sometimes, but they don't feel like real injuries, because they just feel more like somebody just gave him a few minor ones and he just bounces right back and goes, "Hello, I'm fine." Even in the sequels, his problems seem minor in the world. Like, they don't really matter. They just don't. Anything that happens to Peter is immediately wiped off the map because he's a possessed Sue. Everybody falls for him. Peter can instantly gets his victories easy. This is exactly what people worry about, complain about when it comes to Superman. When you don't pay attention to who Superman is. That's what this feels like reading. What people think Superman is. Which brings me to Twilight. Interestingly enough, the two characters I should love the most, Peter and Twilight, are the ones I feel like have insulted the most and I hate the most. I'm sorry, but where do some of you bad writers get the idea of taking Twilight, who would willfully stare down a dragon if it meant protecting others, who would stop an Ursa Minor after she studied because she actually knows what she's doing, and immediately decide that she should break down, run away in terror? And before anybody brings up the movie, I want to point out, we saw in a few scenes that those guys had magic armor. Twilight's smart and brave, but she isn't an idiot. She was also being intelligent. She was backing up because she didn't know what to do. She needed time to think. Now, if she actually thought she could take those guys on, yes, she would start blasting. Then I would complain. But we're not getting that scene. We get diddly squat. We get jack shit from anything Twilight could be. Instead, Twilight is turned into a slobbering idiot, eager for Peter's dick. Oh wait, it gets worse with what these people did, what this fic does to Twilight. It gets so much worse. Not only is her bravery taken away from her, so that way she can only be brave whenever she's around Peter Parker, or if it involves Peter, and believe me, I will be getting to this, but any aspects of her personality that is not involved with being sexy for Peter, or doing stuff for Peter, or jumping on Peter's bones is taken away. Evidence? Judge, I present to you the whole entire chapter where Twilight goes shopping. Where does she go shopping? She doesn't go to Bucks A Million, like she should be. She doesn't go shopping to a computer store so she can play around some more. No. She goes shopping to Victoria's freaking Secret to show off clothes for Peter. What? Twilight is a librarian. She wouldn't have any idea of how sexy these things should look. She would be trying to draw conservatively. But nope. Gotta show the boyfriend and girlfriend dressing hot and sexy for each other so we can have hot and sexy sex. Sex. That's what it all boils down to. Oh, and Dawn is the mayor who is modest and doesn't see herself above her friends. Oh, no. Now we have Twilight standing on balconies, looking down upon her friends because suddenly she thinks she's better than everyone else. Gone is the mayor who would actually try to think. Gone is the mayor who was willing to make mistakes. Gone is the mayor who actually has accidents or does the wrong thing once in a while. Gone is the mayor who sometimes is so paranoid for her own good. Gone is any of that. all replaced with a slumbering slut who only cares about her man toy and how much she can get in the ass! Yeah, I'm a little bit pissed at this fixed treatment of Twilight, as it takes away everything from Twilight and just leaves her with the perfection that the author wants. Just so the romance could work. And I think in the end, that's the other big problem with this story that I have. It's the romance. Every bit of friendship, family, or siblinghood is removed just for the romance. Which, if the story wanted to focus on romance, I wouldn't have a problem. But it's the way that the fic wrote the romance. It's the easy way of writing romance. Twilight likes Peter. Peter likes Twilight. Okay. There's no real problems between their relationship. No real arguments, doubts, fears. Nope. Twilight is just in love with Peter. Why? Because they're both nerds and they're both filled with self-loathing. Well, me and the other folks on Discord agree. That is a toxic relationship! They both are filled with such self-loathing that it's going to take a while before either one of them can even realize that they're in pain. In which case, they might be too depressed for anything to be fixed! This is not how you write a romance! This is a poor way of writing a romance. And what's worse, I'm scared for Mayday. Because with these two being so depressed, so self-loathing, that I am this close to believing that Twilight and Peter would start emotionally abusing their daughter and not even realize they're abusing her. They'll probably think she's perfectly fine, but until they start getting the therapy pills. Mayday, that's really not how you do that. This is why I preferred Applejack and Peter. Because they actually support each other. Applejack holds Peter up, reminds him he's better than he thinks he is. She's supportive, and they can like each other for other things. A good romance should be about how the characters support and care about one another. About how the characters feel and are made better by each other. They don't have to like the same thing. They can always enjoy each other's company. But nope, we don't get any of that. This romance blows out of the water. And that's it. This fic is probably one of the worst things I've ever had to sit through. Probably one of the worst things I've ever had to read on this site. And I know that this has a sub-fandom. This has people who actually enjoy this and like it. Does this mean that they are wrong? That they shouldn't enjoy themselves? Shouldn't enjoy this? No. They are free to like it as much as they can. Maybe they actually like Peter Parker being overpowered. Maybe they like the idea of having multiple girlfriends. I don't know. Maybe there's some legit reasons. Just like there are legit reasons for why people would enjoy Twilight. But for me, I can't get beyond any of its flaws. Any of the poorly constructed scenes and the characterizations just tick me off. This practically makes Mike and stuff seem like a treat to read. And you know that was a hard thing for me to say. Well, I think it's time we got a little more interesting. Time for some bad action.